and it gives you that solid foundation.
Call today for your free consultation. We'll walk you through the entire procedure, including costs.
When those folks gave me the mirror and I looked at myself, these tears, it just makes you feel good. Clear Choice did that for me.
At Clear Choice, you're about to discover what you've been missing all these years. Call Clear Choice today.
First, live, local. The 6 o'clock news starts now on Fox 12 Oregon.
Tonight at 6, honoring a fallen hero. A community comes together to pay their respects.
I just felt like the right thing to do was to come out today, pay our respects.
And his family shares how the loss of their loved one has inspired them.
Growing up with you was the best thing that ever happened in my life.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Wayne Garcia.
And I'm Shauna Parsons. It's been an emotional day for local officers and the community. Hundreds of people paid their respects to Oregon City Reserve Officer Robert Libke. The volunteer officer was shot 11 days ago while responding to a house fire. A celebration of his life ended about 2 hours ago at Memorial Coliseum.
We have live team coverage of the outpouring of support from the community, and we begin with KPTV's Jamie Wilson live at the Coliseum tonight with today's touching tribute. Jamie?
Well, the man who was honored here at the Coliseum today is the same person portrayed in this picture, a solid and dependable man who loved his family, who was dedicated to his community, and a man who was willing to risk it all to help others. They came from every corner of the Northwest and even Canada. Nearly 500 police officers and other public servants escorting their brother for the very last time. Inside the Memorial Coliseum, thousands gathered to celebrate the life of Officer Robert Libke. Libke's pregnant wife, Wendy, arrived in a wheelchair. She did not speak, but the judge who officiated their wedding read letters from other relatives.
I promised to take care of Wendy and the baby and be there always for both of them. Growing up with you was the best thing that ever happened in my life.
The word hero is used often, and not always deservingly, but today we use it properly when we say it about Officer Libke.
Governor John Kitzhaber couldn't be here today, so his colleague presented Libke's family with the Medal of Ultimate Sacrifice. Oregon City Police Chief Jim Band believes that sacrifice saved other people's lives, and Band says that's just who Libke was.
He made us proud that he wore a uniform just because of the way he did his job.
A montage of pictures showed a man who loved hunting, his friends, his family, and the chance to serve his community.
All units, 7 Paul 82, Reserve Officer Robert Libke is out of service. End of watch, November 4th, 2013. Gone but never forgotten.
And officers gave us a more in-depth biography of Officer Libke today. In it, it said that he and his wife had already picked out a name for their little girl. They plan to call her Ziva Nicole Libke. Live in North Portland tonight, Jamie Wilson, the 6 o'clock news.
Well, Oregon City's police chief says Officer Libke's death has had a tremendous effect on his fellow officers and their families.
KPTV's Laura Rios spoke with the chief and joins us now live with how everyone's doing this evening. Laura?
And Chief Jim Band says the Oregon City Police Department has always been very close, so you can imagine losing one of their fellow officers has been very tough for all of them.
First 2 days were very hard. It was a shock. And I think when we started moving and started talking to each other, and we had to remember what our job was, and that somebody has to do that job and the importance of our job.
Now, the chief says the department has grown closer over the past 2 weeks, and being here today surrounded by hundreds of fellow first responders has helped them refocus on their commitment to the community and to each other. The chief says they will continue to work with their officers and their families to help them with their grief. He said Reserve Officer Libke was dedicated to his work in the Oregon City community. During this afternoon service, he presented Officer Libke's family with the Medal of Valor, the Purple Heart, the Distinguished Service Medal, and the Chief's Medal of Merit, honors he said Officer Libke earned when he responded to that November 3rd call.
And he had long ago earned the right to wear that uniform and was making us proud that he was wearing our uniform. And he did the same thing on the call that took his life.
And Chief Jim Band says one of the best ways the community can continue to honor this fallen officer is to remember that every officer they see is dedicated to their job in the same way that Officer Libke was dedicated to his, and to remember the same thing could happen to those officers that happened to Officer Libke. Reporting live, I'm Laura Rios, the 6 o'clock news.
Well, Libke's family and fellow officers aren't the only ones feeling the impact from his death. And today, hundreds of people Libke never even met came to pay their respects.
KPTV's Steve McCarran is live with why they wanted to attend today's ceremony. Steve?
And Wayne, they wanted to simply to say thank you. They are forever grateful for the commitment and the sacrifice that Officer Libke made to his community. And several people traveled several hundred miles just to be here today. Whether they knew Officer Libke or never had the opportunity to meet him face to face, they all came here with a profound respect for the sacrifice he made for his community. David Potensky was in awe as he watched the flashing lights from hundreds of patrol cars file past Veterans Memorial Coliseum. He lives about a mile away from where Libke was shot 11 days ago.
There's a sadness that this happened, the frustration that this sort of thing happened here in Oregon City.
Boise Police Officer Bill Thomas knows Libke's death has had a profound impact on his hometown.
It's a small town.
He made the drive here from Idaho on Tuesday night just so he could witness today's celebration of life firsthand.
When I heard the news Sunday, obviously, my heart went out to the family, the department, the community, and at that time, I asked my sergeant, I said, hey, I'm going to Oregon City for the services.
This afternoon, members of the Patriot Guard held American flags on the sidewalk to show their support for the thousands of first responders here who put their lives on the line every day.
People that are willing to hang their backside over the line to protect us.
For Nick Kindler, what an honor it was to salute them and the fallen officer who died doing what he loved to do.
What a tragic loss. What an absolute tragic situation. And what a beautiful thing it is that all of these members of law enforcement, first responders, and so forth are willing to come out and stand for a fallen brother.
And officers from several area agencies have teamed together to handle any police calls in Oregon City until about 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's so members of the Oregon City Police Department can focus their attentions today on honoring their colleague. Live from the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, Steve McCarran, the 6 o'clock news.
Well, hundreds of people also lined local roads and overpasses today to pay their respects to Officer Libke.
The outpouring of support from the community started as the procession left Clackamas Community College this morning. Before reaching the Memorial Coliseum, that procession wound its way through Oregon City. From young to old, KPTV's Kate Cagle shows us how they honored him.
It was time for a city to say goodbye to a hometown hero.
I just felt like the right thing to do was to come out today, pay our respects.
It took 45 minutes from the first car to leave Clackamas Community College to the last.
Hurting for the family.
A procession led by a hearse and a grieving family, and followed by as many as 500 patrol cars from as far away as Canada and Southern California.
It's breathtaking. I don't know, no words could describe how you can feel. It's so amazing.
These students from St. John the Apostle lined up along 7th and stood quietly for every single one. Some holding signs or flags, others with their hands over their hearts.
Everyone just had the same feeling to be a part of it.
As the lights and sirens moved past, Tualatin firefighters stood outside in an Oregon City fire station, one of several nearby agencies covering all calls in Oregon City until 7 the next morning.
And the firemen come in here a lot. We've got a really good connection with them. And
Terry Clark works at the Singer Hill Cafe across the street. As the procession passed, they closed up shop and went outside, watching car after car.
I didn't expect it. I wasn't sure sure what to expect being out here.
All the customers came out to join in.
Something bigger than themselves was happening outside. Lights and sirens not headed to an emergency, but instead honoring an officer now laid to rest.
And nothing better than feeling a part of it when it hits so close to home, because I've never had something like this happen so close. So I'm just really honored to be out here with everybody.
Reporting in Oregon City, Kate Cagle, the 6 o'clock news.
And really everyone we spoke with said they just wanted to come out and show their respect to Officer Libke's family. They also wanted to let other law enforcement officers know that they appreciate what they do. Alicia Bedema brought her son and daughter to watch, in part because she thought it would be a good learning experience.
Just how community can come together when it's times of sorrow and times of need. I think it's really a powerful experience to watch all of the different first responders come and show the support for the family.
Many people waved flags and held up signs. Some drivers even pulled over to watch all of those police cars go by.
And the procession and memorial service changed the way the city of Oregon City handled business. City Hall was shut down for the entire day to honor Officer Libke, and doing so allowed city leaders the chance to pay their respects.
Governor John Kitzhaber ordered all flags be flown at half-staff today in honor of Officer Libke. The governor says he wants Oregonians to join him in honoring his bravery. He also notes that Libke's courage and deep commitment to Oregon City will not be forgotten.
Well, Oregon City's police chief says Officer Libke's actions saved lives of others on the day he died.
And KPTV's Amy Troy now explains the tense moments that we haven't heard about until today that make Libke's sacrifice seem even more heroic. Amy?
Wayne and Shauna, on November 3rd, Officer Libke responded to calls for help about a gunman at the scene of a house fire in Oregon City. Investigators say Lawrence Cambra had set his own house on fire. Then he was walking through the neighborhood with a loaded gun. Today, Oregon City Police Chief James Band revealed that before police arrived, Cambra started pounding on the door of a neighboring grandmother. She was home alone with her 2 young grandkids, and that's the crucial moment when Libke arrived and confronted Cambra.
And I'm convinced, based on what I know, that his intervention at that time took the attention from that woman or 2 grandkids. And ultimately, Rob made the ultimate sacrifice to save the lives of other people.
This is home video shot by another neighbor that day. You can see other emergency responders rushing back to a waiting ambulance with a wounded Officer Libke. Moments before that, SWAT team members fired on Cambra. Investigators later ruled that Cambra shot and killed himself. Libke was the first Oregon City police officer killed in the line of duty in more than a century. Reporting live, Amy Troy, the 6 o'clock news.
Well, local businesses are stepping up to help out the fallen officer's family financially.
Mike's Drive-In is donating 25% of all sales until 8 o'clock tonight. This is video from a different fundraiser held at a Northeast Portland diner late last week.
Well, tomorrow, Hawaiian Time in Oregon City will also be raising money for Libke's family. And next week, on November 21st, 6 Burgerville locations will be donating a portion of their proceeds as well.
And remember, donations to the Officer Robert Libke Fund can be made at any Clackamas Federal Credit Union.
We have all of this information on our website right now. That's also where you can see a slideshow of pictures of Officer Libke and watch videos from today's procession and celebration of life ceremony. You can find it all online at kptv.com.
Don't miss out on today's